Welcome to Las Vegas Magic Friends. I'm your host Eben, and we're here with a good friend from the channel.
How we doing, guys? I'm Chris.
And Chris here, he's very special. He ended up meeting him here a couple of years ago, and he's blossomed like a beautiful rose. And I'm actually kind of sticky right now. I'm about to cry. Tell him what you won the other day. That's hard to believe.
So I just cashed a big tournament yesterday. Not the biggest tournament by any means, but for my level of play, won a $56,000 prize pool yesterday.
And that was out of how many players?
892, I believe.
Wow.
892. There was four flights into $500 entry at MGM.
Wow. And MGM. And so what made you want to enter that particular tournament?
So I had the last 2 days off.
Wow.
I had the last 2 days off from here, and I was like, what can I play on my day off? And it was a 2-day tournament, so I bought into day one flight on Wednesday. Wow. And bagged a big stack. I was 10th stack overall out of 112 players that were returning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now, how many years have you been a dealer where you've dealt cards at the World Series and all different places around the country?
I've been dealing somewhere in 12 to 14 years. I forget exactly when I started.
Wow.
My first year at World Series was 2019, first year in Vegas.
And so from 2019 to present, physically and mentally, what has the dealing given you experience for regular play? What percent have you say the dealing has given you the strength when you play with the public?
It's hard to quantify a percentage, I feel like. But there's definitely a big part of like, not just dealing, dealing in general, I think definitely has helped me, but I'm fortunate here to work when I work at World Series that I get to deal with all the high rollers and whatnot. So dealing those games has definitely given me some edge there where like watching all these players at the highest levels and seeing what they're doing and how they're playing and the moves they're making has given me an advantage, for sure.
And would you say that what percent, if you could estimate, has made up for you getting to chop with that guy and winning that tournament?
It's an experience thing, so part of it's me playing, some of it's that, like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15%, maybe.
Wow.
Improvement just watching
Wow.
players, but it's hard to quantify.
I see you getting a bracelet here, man. That's incredible. Now that you did that, that's the stair
we
steps.
can't, as long as I'm working here, that can't happen.
Well, I know you, but you won't work here forever. That's good.
You never know. Like, there's a lot of ranks to move up here, so.
Wow.
Goals and dreams, right?
Yeah.
So
anything you want to give to our inexperienced players like myself, someone I have 0.7% of the experience of him, what would you give to someone like me that's watching right now that's at 0.7%?
It's all about experience level and playing within your budget. Like, I'm kind of a conservative player in that means. So like a $500 bullet is okay for me.
Got it.
Not that $500 isn't nothing.
Got it.
But you have to take some risk to get reward.
Sure.
You're a new player, like stick with some lower, like $100 buy-ins, $200 buy-ins, things that you're comfortable with, and get some experience there, and you move up.
In your road to that final chop to win that event, how many 50-50 chances did you have on the river that kept you inside holding on, like a mountain climber with two fingers on a rock?
I don't know about 50-50 rivers, but there's probably 4 or 5 rivers that I needed to catch up on.
And you got them.
Not necessarily just to stay in the tournament, but like to get chips. Some big hands. Let me see. I think it was final. Yeah, it was final table. Set of 7s on the river.
So, question: in your first hour of play, were you able to double up and get early momentum, or you just stuck it out because you have so much skill now from seeing other players?
Skill only plays so much. Like you got to get the right cards. You got to get a little bit lucky here and there. So my first half hour of play was my first bullet, and that went up and down real quick. I won like the first 5 hands sitting down, and then I got boat over boated in a spot where I just couldn't see it coming, and lost all my chips there. And I was
Holy crap.
Went and took 15 minutes and licked my wounds, and I'm like, all right, do I want to try this again? I felt good about my play, and that's the thing sometimes, like, if you feel good about your play and you feel like you're playing well, And sometimes the cards just don't go your way. Sometimes you gotta be like, all right, I gotta try this again.
Wow.
So put in the second bullet, and yeah. You start with 40K. 40K, my ending stack was 20 million.
What was one of your last winning hands that you remember at the end?
The last big hand I remember having was pocket sevens and hitting the 7 on the river and calling it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 7. It was a 4. It was an 8 million pot. 8 million pot, and there was he had 10s. He went all in. I had to think about it. I called him, hoping he didn't have an overpair, and I needed a 7 to catch up. I called the 7 on the river and got it. And
wow. So that gave you
that
three
gave me
of a
chip,
kind.
Yeah,
on the river.
gave me a set in the river, and that gave me a chip
Wow.
lead for the tournament, and it was just
That's
win
awesome.
from there.
I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you,
That's
brother.
so cool. Good job. I love it.
You know, once you get the confidence level to move up.
I love it. Thanks for sharing with everybody, and check out some more videos. Check out this one here in the middle. This is the first time I met this guy here. Is so cool to meet him. We'll see you back next time right here on Las Vegas Magic Friends.